say you get a few Glimmer Capes up just to save yourself and kite around, and then you get to this point where your DK's farmed up. This is some really good music. It's very silly. This is a very serious match.
It's reggae, Jonathan. It's not just silly, it's reggae.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's
very jovial. It's very jovial for a match that has a lot on the line with the top performer and one of the lower performers in the group. It's maybe a little bit too cheerful for someone like AVULUS. I think this is the vibe on Team Spirit, perhaps. And they're vibing out. AVULUS would be a little bit more locked in.
Yeah. Absolutely. Here we go. Game 1. We'll see if there's an early fight to come for these bounties. Now, AVULUS doesn't really seem like they're too interested in it. Even with the Bristleback level 1 timing, they don't really seem to care too much. Eki is spotted by Radan, or rather Yatoro. Eki, get jumped. Miposhka is going to be there with a blood grenade. Hasn't skilled up anything yet for the Ench. Might want to just go for enchant. In fact, he doesn't need it. They'll just wait. Impetus is out, though no. The Aphotic Shield will come in from Zibe. That'll allow Eki to barely remove himself from that scenario. But we'll have to go for the reset at the fountain.
The battle begins.
Side of Team Spirit. Do you still trade evenly for the bounties? I thought they might be able to get away with a little bit of extra, but the side of AVULUS does manage to even it out just a tad bit at the very least. So, no big losses. The reset is going to hurt just a tad for Eki having to TP back into the lane, but it's not like you're missing out on too much anyhow. Not like you're going to look for some TP rotations down the line. We'll see how much more they can get out. It's going to be interesting to watch the mid. I mean, this is, well, interesting. This is probably the most bog standard mid matchup that we've seen time and time again over the past few years. Just DK versus Ember, very stable for your DK. Ember can try to play around. You've got double impact, sure. You can try to poke. I like that Laurel actually went for Flame Guard just to clear out the creep wave and apply some poke onto Stormer, knowing that the early levels in Sleight of Fist will really not do much. So just trying to take control of the lane a bit, but again, you're not going to get shoved out here as the DK. It's a very static lane. You probably don't expect too much action unless someone severely oversteps or a support rotation does manage to get in there.
So it's really going to be pretty annoying down in this bottom lane, I'm sure. He's already having a look around to see if he can find any couriers coming in. Standard Ricky gameplay here, just waiting to see if he can find anything. Sneko going to just kite his own courier around. This Ricky support, it's very annoying. With the TB off lane, like, you go for that reflection as you just saw into the tricks of the trade, and it's just so much damage on poor old Sneko. Like, there's just nothing he can do to get away with it either, because you just get slowed too much by that damn reflection.
Yeah, just a lot of early output. The issue is, even if you're poking Sneko out, you're giving Smiling Knight just a free lane to play in. Mind you, trying to poke down the Terrorblade isn't really the easiest thing to get done. He is high armor. Your Bristleback harassment is armor as well. It's all physical, so you're not really going to be shoving Collapse out of lane anytime soon until you can start to connect that with a Frost Blast. But the Bristle is still allowed to farm, and you're not really able to zone him out. Like, you try that same move onto Smiling Knight, you're really not achieving much, especially as Bristleback is up for Smiling Knight level 2. She's going to be able to control that lane, maybe shoving it out a little bit harder than you'd like, giving Collapse some room to soak some EXP with creep waves. Still gives us a chance to look at the other lanes up top. You do have Zibe and Eki up against Radan and Miposhka. And again, this is the PA into the Abaddon lane, which we've seen be a bit rough before. It's Miposhka.
Top lane, Miposhka dropping pretty low, but he actually finds first blood before he does go down, so he'll be very happy with that trade, as now Yatoro trying to go after Zibe will eventually leave him be. But already a fantastic start here for Team Spirit as they do secure first blood.
That they do. But again, you can see some of the threat coming out here from AVULUS. And just the Abaddon into PA, there is something to play with. The shield is highly effective in trying to zone out. I do like that Miposhka had that little tornado creep as well, and he's just microing the tornado around, just trying to be as much of a nuisance as possible.
Snake's really confident here. Collapse able to secure a Smiling Knight, trying to find a trade, but you've got the Blink Strike back up here for Rue. He will be able to just casually walk out of there. A Smiling Knight still trying to chase him down, but just can't quite get within range. It's just going to continue to be a horrible time down at this bottom lane for Sneko. Like, there's just no escaping this disgusting combination of TB Ricky.
No, it's always just going to be rough for Sneko. He doesn't even try to TP mid, I mean, you don't have a bottle to worry about, so you can just work back into this lane at the very least. You pass on the Belt of Strength, so a little bit more HP for Smiling Knight. And again, the one benefit is your Lich is being sacrificed, your Bristleback is farming. So you have that good timing into Power Treads, into a full Wand, into the Ags down the line. Not too bad there for the Bristle considering what you're trading out in the lane. You are still happy enough on the side of Team Spirit. Like, especially this top lane, Radahn is not really under pressure. Like, this is really free for the PA so far. And in contrast to what we saw previously when we saw Abaddon up against the PA. And it feels like it's just down to having Miposhka around on that Ench with the enchant. And just having that Dispel on hand, having a way of just saving or slowing down when they do jump in, doesn't make it rough. And you can just Dispel off the Aphotic Shield. So there's really no way to consistently harass out Yatoro as long as Miposhka's around with the enchant, and he's doing a fine job of just being annoying here.
Eki might just be going down as well. Miposhka setting up very nicely with that Hurricane. Eki will be able to escape, and Miposhka still playing around with Zibe. Zibe trying to chase down Yatoro, but they will have to leave them both alone. As meanwhile, mid lane, Rue's now being chased by Seneko. Again, there's not really much you can do about this Ricky. Like, he's just going to casually walk out. He's got 4.8 HP regen just passively. He'll reset nicely just walking around the jungle. Meanwhile, Stormer being chased a little bit by Lull, but looks like he'll be okay. And the mid lane matchup has been pretty even as well while we're here. John, CS-wise, they're pretty even. It's just exactly the same 23 on both the Ember and the DK.
Just a little bit better for Stormer in terms of denies, but not really enough to put a massive end considering Laurel is just 3 denies off. So you are finding a very 50-50 lane, which is probably the best outcome you'd hope for the Ember. Just drawing out up against DK, you're happy enough. You're getting gold. You are starting to get those courier snipes you were looking for on Rue. So Seneko loses access to the Blood Grenade. You got that little bit of HP and just a little bit more of slow for a chase down. Does impact your presence in lane, which is already almost non-existent here for Seneko. As is the they're starting to collapse onto that mid as well with Miposhka turning up with Rue here.
Stormer be chased down, a lot of damage already being dealt his way. The DK just unable to sustain himself through this, or can he? He'll actually walk out thanks to the Frost Shield. They could not finish the job. Instead they'll try for Eki on the support Zeus and they will secure him. So at least you get your DK out of there. Just barely Stormer will get out, and that was literally off the back of that one Frost Shield, just taking some damage away.
But I like this emphasis out from Team Spirit. It's right in time for the 6-minute power rune. They get an amp damage up on Laurel. You get some space in the lane to just try to soak into that level 6. You will still hit 6 at a decent time for Stormer right around the same time as Laurel will. They're keeping that pressure on these supports.
He just can't catch a break. Rue's finding him every 2 seconds. Frost Shield's going to buy him time to get out of there. In fact, now maybe they can punish Rue, though Rue's still thinking about jumping in onto Seneko, but had no blink strikes left. The Centaur, though, is still going. Seneko's not out of danger yet, and they've left him. He's all right, though. He jukes it out.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
That's a real nasty time for Seneko. I mean, it is what it is. The one big thing for the side of AVULUS is that even with all of these support rotations, you do have fairly tanky side lanes, right? So leaving a Smiling Light known isn't the worst thing in the world. It is giving Collapse maybe a little bit more to play with. It's maybe a little bit slower for Sibe, who, again, hasn't really managed to slow down Yatoro in any meaningful way. So this PA is still off to a very fantastic start. Already has the Bracer up with the Power Treads. Can start to consider some early movement across with Coup de Grace already up. And we are seeing Yatoro go through the gate. Watching some of that pressure onto Smiling Knight. Still not the tankiest Bristle, on the level 1 Bristleback at 6, of course. But is mindful enough to back off in time. Not seeing anyone farming top.
Seneko. Yeah, I mean, it's just, they are literally just targeting this poor Lich at the moment. He's just food for Yatoro. And Rue finds himself another support here in the form of Eki, and as you can see, Jonathan, it's just so much damage. As Team Spirit, they will clean up another onto the tier 1 bottom tower. They'll go. And keep in mind, this is before you hit the level 6 timing on Ricky, so it's going to get even more infuriating to play up against. Oh, it's just rough. It's a rough start here for AVULUS.
That it is, and it's somewhat, it's related to the draft, right? Like, you don't have anyone that can really play early. Like, you're waiting for Bristleback Ags to be up. Your Abaddon doesn't even have anything like the Echo Saber up. Your DK is going to be farming into Blink and Orchid first, at the very least, the Blink necessary to try to get these jumps in. You don't really have anyone for these supports to connect with early on, whereas for the side of Spirit, they have all these options. You know, Ember can play a little bit early. You already have the full Orb Corrosion to try to play Poke as well and sustain in that lane. You've got a lot of great rotations out from Miposhka. He's still camping in the jungle, just farming away into his power treads, start to scale up just a tad bit more. For the side of Avulus, I just don't know who you're expecting to make these plays.
Miposhka being chased. Collapse is there to back him up. Stormstormer, though, taking really no damage with this Frost Shield applied to him, so Collapse does need to escape. In fact, now Miposhka is down. Collapse being targeted by Smiling Knight. Does get the Thunder off onto Stormstormer. Lal also joined the fight, but does Remnant out. As you kind of saw there, John, the Stormstormer, especially with the Frost Shield applied, literally takes no damage.
Yeah, and that's the one thing for Avulus' draft. They are banking on this tankiness, or banking on having all of these buffs on hand. And you're going to have to be pretty patient with Miposhka when you do get the Dispel off, when you do pop that enchant. As it's down to that. That's where this Enchantress pick shines. Dispel off a Photic, you dispel off Frost Shield. You're kind of happy. Kind of counteract that Lich pick to a certain extent. But you're also just trying to pick up creeps with it, and the timing's just not lining up for Miposhka. Again, being punished for being a little bit too far forward. There's some good vision here on Avulus, understanding that positioning that Team Spirit will want to take. So Spirit is still 3k up, fighting over these runes coming in.
Well, they're going to try onto the Abba. Zibe for now is okay. Rue the one in danger again, but will Blink Strike out. Zibe happy to keep this fight going if they so wish, but it doesn't seem like Team Spirit are quite interested. With that, Stormstorm are going to commit for the tier 1 mid tower. I mean, they are just grouped up in the mid lane. They know Stormstorm is pretty much uncontestable right now, as long as Staneko is behind him with the Frost Shield ready. Lal is sticking around, but he can't stick around too long. He's taking a fair bit of damage out. In fact, he may have remnanted the wrong way. Eki's going to chase him down with Staneko, but Lal still has some remnants to play with. Issue is they are still going to lose that mid tier 1 tower, and it really does feel like Team Spirit can do nothing about it.
Not quite yet. I do like how much space this is giving Avulus as well to just free farm under Bristle. Smiling Knight has room bot. He doesn't really care too much about the 1v1 up against Collapse. He's got access to his bot jungle. No forward vision being planted here by the side of Team Spirit, despite all of that great gate move and cross. They are still lagging behind in net worth by a significant amount. But at the least, again, you are getting some rune to recover, although you are seeing the effect of that Enchantress. You pop your Photic, she gets enchant off, you're just going to get poked out here on Sibet, and you don't really have anything that you can do to counteract that, at least not yet. Still a very happy game state for Spirit. You're working towards that. Battle Fear for Yatoro, and the timing's going to be pretty damn sharp here. Him and Collapse, number 1 and number 2 network, very evenly farmed across the board. Only Laurel coughing the short end of the stick here. But he is the one that's been forced to be a little bit more active with all of this activity in his mid lane. So the trade-off for him, just matching almost Tiba's farm for Collapse and Yatoro to have a free game, is pretty big. Again, this Battle Fury timing's lining up to be so damn quick on Yatoro. Just 200 gold away at 12 minutes in. That's a fast Battle Fury. And it's just going to allow the PA to escalate. Although,
jump in mid lane, they have caught Rue. Rue does have a bit of time to get the tricks of the trades off, and well, they don't have enough burst damage, though Lol now, being caught as well, needs to find a way out. He already committed his last remnant. He's just trying to run and buy himself a bit of space, though nice sleight of fist dodge to ensure Stormstormer never gets a stun off. And Lol is once again okay.
And he is. Again, he's having to make this space all across the map. But it's spaced very well worthwhile. Yatoro and Collapse are using it quite nicely still.
I mean, Miposhka's just being such a nuisance. Just such a nuisance. Maybe they can punish him. He didn't level Untouchable, so he's not really as tanky as he should be. And he will die. Ended up going for the greedy route and going for the impetus instead.
I don't mind that. I think he... Oh.
Naru's okay. The dust will not connect.
Yeah, I appreciate that from Miposhka. I think he understands what he has to do. He's basically a debuff machine. And all he's going to do is try to dispel off either Frost Shield or a Photic and try to get some impetus hits in at source of pure damage. Still, Collapse coming in. Orchid already up.
Already setting up here up the top lane with a big reflection. They're going to run. Eki is the target that Collapse seems to want, but everyone's run out of range here. Nobody hanging about for Collapse to really jump. Rue's still having a scout around on the Riki, but they are well and truly gone. Mid lane, there is going to be a chains onto Stormstormer. But again, he's a bit too tanky at the moment. They don't really have the damage output to deal with him. The Stormstormer actually going to blink in, trying to find Lyle, but Lyle's found Eki first. Lyle, though, still might die, but no. He's all right to Remnant out again. He's really playing on the edge here on this Ember. Meanwhile, Yatoro going to jump in, taking down Zibe. Very, very quickly, I might add. With that, I mean, Team Spirit, they still feel like they're in control here, John. They've got a 5k advantage. Sure, it looks a bit tough now, but considering how much farm they're getting, you kind of question if AVULUS are going to be able to take them on maybe in 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think the big issue for AVULUS, they're also just not chain stunning properly. They get the gaze off at the same time as the Dragon Tail, so they're not able to stagger onto Laurel fast enough to try to find that punishment. Again, they haven't really answered this Terrorblade and PA outside of being just survivable. Like, there's so much map space for Yatoro and for Collapse that they just hit these major spikes. The Orchid on Collapse forced out that earlier bar of time on Sibe, which means he's a sitting duck for a full 90 seconds. Big window for them to just kind of bully out. You're still waiting for the full Ags here on Smiling Light. He's only 500, 430 gold away from that. So once that's up, it starts to be a little bit more comfy, but not quite comfy enough, I would say. It's not ultra durable yet. A smoke out from AVULUS. Try to utilize that Blink and Storm for a bigger pickoff. But the side of Team Spirit just have so much map to play with that they're not even stuck anywhere near like the triangle. They have no reason to be just stuck on this side of the map. And they will have to dig deeper.
They're hunting down the PA. They've got the right idea, but Yatoro just picks up a Wisdom Rune, backs off after the camp, and seems to know that they could be coming, as he will run north back towards his base and does remain safe for now. It seems like AVULUS will give up, though Rue is TPing to the outpost, so he can at least get caught out here on the Riki. Still alive, though, sadly enough, here for AVULUS, and now Team Spirit, they've joined in. Rue's actually jumped out of there. Rue's made it out. Stormstormer will TP immediately, but they've lost Eki, and they're probably going to lose poor old Seneko. Oh, Seneko, not happy with this, I'm sure. And Rue, of all people, just walks out. That's such a shame.
They commit a lot. Even the Turner Gods coming in, not able to clean up. And for AVULUS, they waste a lot of time in these kinds of smoke plays. They're under pressure to try to shut down the free farm on Chorus of Spirit, but they're not really able to stop it. They hit this Ags timing now in Smiling Knight. He does have the Voodoo Mask at the very least being built up as well into that full Bloodstone, it looks like, just to have that sustain going for himself. So that's going to be a highlight for him once that's up and running. We haven't really seen them play around his timing on Stormstormer as much as we'd like. I mean, they've been trying. Team Spirit has just such a great understanding of what AVULUS need to get done here that they just avoid it entirely. They're just able to play this farm game, build up. They've got the Glimmer Cape on Yatoro, so trying to magically burst down the PA now with your Zeus and Lich becomes a lot harder, and that's going to be a fun time. That's 1 out of the 7 we're expecting this game. Laurel does have the Mage Slayer instead, so that's 1 less Glimmer Cape at least. You're not going to be seeing that on him, but that also just cuts into this magical burst you're looking for from Eki, from Seneko, who already has a rough game. Like, the answers aren't there, and it's going to take a lot longer because you still need to farm up. You need to build up on your Abaddon. You need to build up on this DK. Your Bristleback needs to become ultra tanky.
Yatoro. I mean, they jump him with a quick Dragon Tail, but that's about it. Like, he just doesn't take any damage. Mid lane, someone who does take damage is Eki. So does Rue, though. Rue needing a way out. Does Blink Strike and actually has made it for now, but the Chain Frost actually not bouncing towards the Riki. He'll finally die, though. So will Maposhka. Meanwhile, Lyle also being chased here by Stormstorm. Lyle's going to be okay. Collapse will take down Eki in the meantime, but now Collapse needs a way out. Thankfully, he has a Glimmer Cape. Because of course he does. Johnny's playing offlane TB.
Yeah. Already have the 2 Glimmer Capes up on the side of Team Spirit. Feeling great about that. I mean, without the Zeus around, you just don't have an easy way to handle it. Look, at the least we're not seeing Rue kind of try to queue it up yet. So we don't have like Ricky Glimmer yet. Could come out though. I mean, he's just going for the Yule. A little bit of utility, so not gonna be surprised if a Glimmer comes out there as well. 6 to 9 as it becomes 6 to 10 with an additional one for Collapse. And again, for the side of AVULUS, this draft needs time, but Smiling Knight.
Yep.
Okay. That's a quick
Sibe
start in
dies.
Yatoro.
Sibe dies close by himself to Collapse. Now Smiling Knight just casually dying in the mid lane. Like you said, John, the shards are up now for Yatoro, so he's got that break available whenever. And this is where you start to question what you do as AVULUS, because now with the break up, this DK is not going to be anywhere near as tanky. Obviously, as you saw, neither is the Bristleback. And I feel like this is where things start to get very frightening, as Yatoro looking to jump in on Stormer, gets the break, but the immediate TP, he doesn't want a bar of this. And I don't blame him. Meanwhile, Rue, scouting out in the triangle, may have been caught though, does get a nice tricks to the trade out, but has no blink target, and will eventually die, as Lal now will walk in. Trying to go after Eki, but Eki's got too many shields applied. Instead, Maposhka now also being dropped here by Stormer. They're bringing in more bodies though. Yatoro will take down Seneko. Maposhka is now down, but here comes the big dog. Yatoro just shredding them with Collapse. It's too much damage already, as Eki will also drop one last hero. It's going to be Smiling Knight. And guess what, John? Yatoro's not done. He's jumping in. There's your breakout. This is all before the 20-minute mark, by the way. We're not even 20 minutes in yet. They're diving T3 towers.
I mean, that Fan of Knives is just so critical here. You stop the passive pop on borrowed time. Yeah. Was it? It was. I don't even know sometimes. Okay. I did it on purpose. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, it's a rough one for the side of AVULUS. And again, they had this great idea, but they still pick off this into PA, who could just die Fan of Knives, and you're just squishy. And you know, they buy Glimmer Capes on Team Spirit, so magic damage isn't really amounting to much. I don't know how you farm yourself back to relevancy here, if you could even do that, as it's 8 to 16 and a 9k lead, 20 minutes for the side of Team Spirit. Complete washout so far, as it feels like the critical times you were looking for here from Stormer haven't really been met. Like, he's got Blink Orchid, he can try to take control, but even the damage front just doesn't feel like it's enough when your supports can't burst anyone down, because they've got 2 Glimmer Capes on hand. At the least, you've got that Lich Shard, so you can try to go for some sneaky plays with Suneko and the Chain Frost, but again, Glimmer Cape, it's still not comfy. It's still not a guarantee. You know a patch has gone too long when Glimmer Cape's a top tier item. You know a patch has gone way too long.
Yeah. It just saddens me, because you know they're not just going to nerf it a little bit to stop cores from buying it. Like, they're just going to destroy the item, basically.
Yep.
We know it's going to come. But that bonus movement speed is going to go. The 25% magic resist is going to be like 5%. The barrier is just going to die immediately. It's going to be great.
Yeah. It's going to be...
And then they'll forget Alpha Wolves as well, by the way. So you'll have no escape as a support. Just Alpha Wolves all game, every game. They're going to forget. I guarantee they'll forget to nerf it. I guarantee it. Stormer, he'll jump in onto Lal. Problem is, he does not have any damage, and now the turnaround is here. There's your breakout, and he is gone. Stormer just destroyed here. As Chain Frost being thrown out by Seneko, doing some work, but not really. Sibe is still trying to fight, but he can't actually hit Yatoro at the moment. And with that, Sibe will die, 4 down for the price of literally nothing. And the only reason it's not 5, John, is because Smiling Knight wasn't even there.
Yeah. I mean, that was a best case scenario for the side of AVULUS. Mind you, again, just banking on Stormer alone with these jumps in with the Orchid. He just doesn't have the damage to really burst anyone down. Not even any of the supports, I don't reckon. Even if you manage to jump through. Perhaps Rue is your best target to burst, but it feels inconsequential if you were targeting Ricky instead. You need this Bristleback to be comfy enough to join these fights, but Smiling's just not comfy enough. Trying to, again, work into the Lotus. Try to get into that full Bloodstone as well for the regen. He's getting room to get that done. He's the top form on his team. He's matching at least Laurel. But Yatoro has completely taken over this game. Going for the Basher, going for the Satanic next. This PA is just uncontrollable. Like, how do you burst her down? She doesn't have BKB, just Glimmer Capes. And that's enough. I mean, is this really that... It's a mix, right? Like, it's BKB's not feeling great, and Glimmer Capes being so cheap and replacing what BKB does. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Just sad.
It is. John, it is. And here we go. High ground for Team Spirit by the looks of it. Stormstormer was just not expecting them to just casually jump in like this. This is without the break of the PA, by the way, John. Well, that's just depressed. I mean, Yatoro wasn't even there with the Phantom Knives that time.
Yeah. I mean, they are stalling out the push for the Frost Shield at least, but you can only stall for so long. They still have a ton of time in the stages here for Yatoro. 3 minutes 40 left. If you show up, you're just dead, so you probably don't want to show up. And they'll just back off. That's 4 versus 5, and they're not even willing to put their bodies forward, considering how far behind they are here.
Yeah, I mean, this rack's going down so quick. Yatoro, I don't even know how to describe it. John, it's just a disappearing act at this point with Yatoro. He's just a magician. Smiling Knight, he's trying to force them back. Phantom Knives is back up now. I think Yatoro might just jump in for a quick fight. Ooh. Smiling Knight, they'll purge it off with Lotus Orb at least. Frost Shield will delay the bottom racks going down a little bit longer, but how much longer is the real question? Oh boy, even Maposhka's hitting hard now. Like, he's got the Drag Lance up, so you can't actually contest him as he's gonna die on Zibe. Keep in mind, Yatoro has the Aegis up for another 2.5 minutes. He's not really afraid of dying. He'll jump in onto Seneko, because they love killing Seneko apparently. Yatoro, though, may finally give his first life away. Smiling Knight, though, copping so much damage on the tail end as Maposhka just not leaving him alone. But they just need to run. Even in their own base, they just can't fight as Seneko will drop. No. Lul's jumped into the tier 4 towers. He's out of remnants, and Lul will die, but Yatoro will just clean up Stormstormer. And Eki will also go down as Smiling Knight is getting abused by Maposhka. Leave him alone.
Jesus.
Never mind, Yatoro.
Yeah, you call it. There's no way you keep this going. It is just, and there's I would expect the gate movement here for Yatoro to be really quick. We have some quick music as well. What the heck is this?
Take the back jump.
Oh yeah, get the camera going. Whoa! Do it, Griff. Heck yeah! This is what we're talking about. This is a professional observer right here.
He knows. It's
we need more zooms, hard zooms in.
Our sound producer's like 12 years old or something. Like, what is this music? What's going on?
I like it. I would prefer a nice silly jaunt, you know, keeping in teaming. But this is also great.
Same one every time. Oh, hold on a minute. There's a bit of all chat going on. Not sure what it's about though.
No context.
Oh, this is actually.
I was holding it for the Viper last
music, was it?
It straight up was. He was holding it for the Viper last pick since the first game. Respect, says Eki. Oh God.
I mean, how do you think this goes? It does kind of feel like you know that Husker pick goes out the window against this Viper. It does not feel like a very fun time.
The battle begins.
No, it certainly does not. You should have a decent enough time for Laurel. Mind you, your break only comes in with the Viper Strike, so at the least, I mean, you could still poke with Burning Spears, but you're going to get poked back. The Viper's just going to spit at you every single time. You have this interesting late smoke that's just instantly broken from AVULUS as well. And they did drop the smoke down. Instant XDs out from collapses. I don't know what you're expecting as well with a smoke from Batrider Warlock, as that's maybe not the most threatening thing in the world. I'm gonna be really interested to see how much the side of Team Spirit gets out. Like, again, we're looking at bot lane, which is probably the more interesting lane anyway, where you have Yatoro already going for the boars early on. Mind you, with Swash and Shield Crash, you can't kind of clear that. Even with Eki and that early Flame Grape, they do manage to take care of the creep army. But once you have the axes going, once you have that spell spam up, and the slows coming in from Miposhka, the Frost Shield coming in, or the Gaze, lining up these shots from Yatoro is going to be nice and simple. You have to work overtime here on Sibe and Eki. Like, they do have some good repositional plays. Flame Break into a double jump Shield Crash with Swash on top. They can keep shoving out this lane, or at least applying pressure onto the creeps, clear out these boars, get some steady farm going. But you're probably not going to be able to fully zone out Yatoro as long as Miposhka's allowed to play his game as Lich, which this time around he should be. Seeing a little bit of a chase around from Ru and Suneko. Was going for the pull, and he does manage to find most of it at least. This is not fun for the Warlock either. Again, we talked about how passive this top lane can be for Smiling Knight Suneko. If you just keep pulling, I mean, it's really just going to end up being a passive lane. Yes, you can find some good farm in Smiling Knight, but you're not really going to get anything out from Suneko, as he's still being sort of bullied out just a tad bit. Even the sentry priority just to ensure they have no pull camp here.
And that is the thing as well. If you can keep Suneko away, like Collapse will naturally just win the lane because he's playing Earthshaker versus a melee hero. So Ru doing the right thing by just annoying the living crap out of Suneko here with the cog spam, and you know, it's always fun to watch the cogs being kind of abused here. I'm a clockwork spammer, Jonathan. You know I enjoy this crap. How's bottom lane going? Eki and Sipe against Miposhka and rather Yatoro. There's nothing they can do about this Beastmaster is kind of the thing. Is mid lane is where the first blood will be drawn. Unsurprisingly, of course, Lal will secure up against Stormstorm. Bottom.
I mean,
Miposhka does go down. Nice pickup from Sipe.
and that's what they kind of need to do here. Like what we were talking about, this lane is going to be pretty free for Yatoro. You have to bully out Miposhka. They're still be applying so much pressure up top.
Yes, Suneko's gone, and now the rotation from Lal, perfect just after respawning. And well, there's no way out of this jump. Smiling Knight gonna have to accept that he is just gonna die. And this is what makes Team Spirit so great. It just feels like at any moment they can just rotate and just win out any kind of fight. And that's exactly what we just see from Lal. You know, he respawns, he sees an easy team fight to join, and well, there he is, of course.
Gets a double kill. He's slightly behind in EXP as he's sharing all of that. Stormstorm has some room to breathe. A little bit of poke here.
Yeah, Eki's going to be okay, but a lot of pressure down at this bottom lane as well. I mean, sure, it's still level 3 Beastmaster. There's not too much to worry about, but certainly a close call here for our Batrider.
Yeah, and again, you've got the higher level boars. You've got the Hawk as well being prioritized by Yatoro. So he's not fully going for just the axis spam. He is looking for just shoving out the wave as long as he micro fine enough. It's not like the creeps can be easily cleared as more HP gets added in. And again, already a great start for the side of Team Spirit. Mind you, the side of AVULUS, they have managed to find a CS advantage. I think Smiling Knight still getting a relatively free lane top. Sibe is keeping up in the CS as well down bot. So you're in a much happier position than you were in game 1, and that is leading to a slight network advantage early on. Then again, you also have the Alchemist, so if you didn't have even just a slight network lead early on with your Alchemist free farming like this, you are in dire straits. So you're doing what's expected on AVULUS. You already are dipping into the jungle for Storm to just get that free farm, avoiding this Viper lane entirely. But he will hit 6 slightly faster, considering all that space given to him from that TP earlier out there.
Top lane, still a bit of action going on here as Ru just protecting Collapse, who was being jumped.
Eki.
Eki dropping low. Radan gonna go for the chase, but now needs to find a way out because he's got a lot of sticky napalm stacks being applied. He'll turn back onto Eki though, does secure that kill, but it is still going to be a positive trade for Sibe. Does get the Beastmaster position 1, and I think you'll be pretty happy with that as AVULUS.
Yeah, again, you're finding a little bit more coming out of these lanes. You're having a stable time for Smiling Knight. You're getting some pressure out with Sibe. Finding some punishment for this Beastmaster flex pick. They are still looking to poke and prod up top here, though.
They are. Stun being channeled. Ru in the middle of nowhere, but a very nice cogs. Very nice cogs indeed. Pushing Smiling Knight backwards, not allowing him to stun. And Ru, had he taken that stun, would have guaranteed died, but He will walk his way out, no problem.
Manages to get a reset. And again, you have the Shaker solo lane into melee, like you said there, Mikey. It's still fine for Collapse to just play solo. Already has a soul ring, level 5. Gonna be soaking up into 6 all alone. Gonna be nice and quick. Still a little bit surprised that, again, Stormstormer's just stuck in the jungle, but he just has no plan on facing up against Laurel, who does have the Viper Strike up now. So it's really not a comfy time for him. The armlet, only the recipe away, though. So that key timing for the Huskar is still lining up, but the emphasis onto mid is starting to come in. Laurel is starting to shove out, even Rue showing up, even stuck at level 2 with how much movement he's had in blockwork, but just ensuring that nothing sneaks in is...
We're seeing why he doesn't want to be in the lane, John. That's pretty much why. Stormer just getting deleted immediately as Miposhka trying to gaze Zippe, not allowing the wrong thunder as the TP away. Lol actually just TP's out. That is really nasty. Miposhka will die happily, knowing that the Viper has escaped. He does die, right, John? Yes, okay. Because if he didn't die there, even I would have been upset for AVULUS. I might have disconnected, I'll be frank, John. I would have been very upset.
Yeah, no, that was pretty ugly. Really heads up from the side of Team Spirit. Those interrupts, we've seen some great interrupts just saving the day up against this Pangolier. They will at least sneak away a Wisdom Rune. Snako hits level 3, but he's still dead. Collapse finds some comeuppance there, and Rue is still able to snag away the opposite side Wisdom Rune anyway. So it's still a 1-for-1 with a bonus kill coming out for Collapse. You don't mind at all. But hey, at least you have the Black Grimoire later on, right? You could get your 6, right? Wow. Great. Whoa.
He's got 2 whole charges there, John.
Outstanding.
It's 500 XP. He can get it any time. Oh, it's game changing. This is the best update to Warlock I've ever seen.
You know, we did say it's Random Acts of Kindness Day. Every time I think about Warlock and his Black Grimoire, I think the random act of kindness I'd appreciate the most is an obituary. There is that. Holding on to that obituary. That's what he's collecting with all the kills, Mike. That's what the Black Grimoire is filled with. Obituaries. It should consider his death.
You're such a negative Nancy, John. Snako? Rue's gonna find it. Level 2 battery slot available. Meanwhile, Raw down at the bottom lane. Another fight breaking out as they are trying to jump Eki right now, and Eki is gonna go down. Looks like they were trying to actually kill Yatoro, but they do get him. A nice shield crash out from our Pangoli will get the job done. Question is, can he now get away from Lal? The answer probably going to be a no, but it seems like he has the movement speed. Meanwhile, topside, Rue does go down. Smiling Knight able to secure a kill on the Alchemist. So AVULUS so far, they're not having too bad of a time in this game too. Things are going okay.
The biggest shining point is getting the free space for Smiling Knight, as Miposhka's not too safe here.
He is not safe, but he does have Yatoro now to join him. Here comes more TPs here from Rue. You don't have hookshot yet for the Clockwork, as of course he doesn't have Black Grimoire, John. He's got to do it the old-fashioned way. Some of these supports get spoiled with these damn facets. I just love it. Every Warlock game, I just love taking the piss out of you, John.
I just hate it. Goddamn Warlock. Phil.
Zippe? Yeah, he's gone. No escaping this Viper. None. And now, to make matters worse, Jonathan, for AVULUS, Claps does have his blink on the way. 9 minutes in.
Yeah. Again, he's had a pretty free lane. Your biggest winning point here for AVULUS was that Smiling Knight's just not contested, but the Alchemist still needs that initial burst of form. The full Radiant still just lacking Talisman Evasion at the least. Here comes the gate movement across. Miposhka already having that 6 for the Chain Frost. Can start to threaten if someone steps out of bounds, but they are being a little bit cautious on AVULUS. Again, slight net first advantage for them, but they're the ones with the Alchemist. They haven't really built up a gold lead because of that. They're lagging behind on Sibe and Stormer. They have kept Radon suppressed at the least, but this Ag's timing still lining up. Only really 2 parts away now with the gold on hand. He's going to be able to hit probably a 13, 14 minute timing there on the Ags if that pacing stays the same. Applying pressure onto the bot, and they do have the... Yeah.
Collapse. Getting it done. Roar out immediately onto Zippe. They'll try at least for the Earthshaker, but it might be a bit of a lack of damage here for Collapse, or maybe not. Collapse will finally go down. Not exactly the greatest trade. You did lose your mid-Husker for that, but in fairness, Stormstormer has been having a pretty rough time, so I think AVULUS, they'll take it.
Yeah, you'll take what you can get. And he did manage to force out the slam as well, but again, that's one sticking point for this Husker. Like we were talking about it with the Shaker pickup, right? Like he's physical damage. You don't care about this innate on Stormstormer. You're just going to be able to run down. And again, you do have a 3K lead coming out now from AVULUS. You're popping off now on Smiling Knight, who does have the Radiance flying in. You have managed to save yourself all of these stacks. Side of Team Spirit hasn't been able to invade into the triangle at the very least. So you have this farm going for you. Still.
Snake, gonna lose his golem, maybe? Oh, it actually expires. It actually expires in time. That's nice. Bottom lane?
It is.
It's like a bit of a chase onto Zippe. Yatoro doesn't have the Roar available, so won't quite be able to lock him down. Importantly, though, Yatoro is very close now to having the full Aghanim Scepter up, and as we've seen through multiple games, John, once you've got that available, you just roar a hero and they are basically just guaranteed to die in the early stages of the game. Not much you can do about it.
Well, you are. A little bit of a quick smoke from the side of Team Spirit as well. Collapse and Miposhka. They don't have the slam, but they do have that Chain Frost ready. Just need to find a nice target for themselves here. Eki would be nice, but not juicy enough. Soneko not the juiciest either. The cores are playing safe on the sides of the map. And the ward drop and the non-smoke heroes are revealing this. Although, yeah,
very
just
quick
take the
kill from Collapse. Yeah. We do have a bit of a rotation here from Zippe, but I don't know if he can do this on his own. He's going to need some help. Rolling Thunder's out. Collapse did get stunned. They'll find Rue as well. Soneko and Stormstormer will move in, and so will Smiling Knight, but it's really only Rue you're trying to go for here, and Rue has a hookshot available if he does need it to get out. He'll commit. He's out of there for now, but eventually will die to the fatal bonds of Soneko. So it's the support trade. Soneko will get tipped by Eki. You kind of see how much work it takes for them to find these kills. It's a bit demoralizing, I want to say.
And it is. You compare that to Collapse coming in, pre-enchanted up, gets a second enchant, and you're just dead. I mean, that's just Shaker gameplay for you right now. 10 to 8, 5k lead still coming out here for AVULUS. Most of that is literally just Smiling Knight at this point, but it is coming all together. And the rest of the core is fairly evenly farmed, which is concerning, right? Like, again, the power spikes of all of these heroes on the side of Team Spirit are relatively early. Like, the Ag's timing for Radon just lacking the one item now. So, gonna be online with the Drums and Slom soon. You've got Laurel working into the Manta style, or you have the Travels to the Dragonlance up on this Viper. So he's gonna be able to get in and out, and depending where you need him at. Stormstormer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it, John. At least they are gonna find Collapse.
Ooh.
Hookshot barely off the mark, just a centimeter short from Rue, but it's still, your Stormstormer's just not having a game for himself. Collapse dies, yeah, but I don't think he cares.
No.
The only thing they've really got to worry about at this stage is Smiling Knight's farm, but you know you're up against an Alchemist, you know the damn hero is going to farm well. You know, as long as everyone else on Team Spirit are doing well themselves, chances are it won't really matter.
Yeah. Don't really mind. It's all part of the calculations. Everyone else has been sacrificed a little bit too hard here on the side of AVULUS. They're not able to, like, especially Stormstormer, right? You're used to seeing Huskers just overtake the game. This isn't really one of those games here. For Stormstormer, he has to play into a Viper lane, which is very toxic, but what can you do? You've hit this Ag's timing up now for Yatoro. Again, nice and quick. He's been left alone. Drums to Slom available. Going for the Blink, going for SNY and BKB as well, which I like to see. Trying to leverage out that extra attack speed you get and just some durability on hand here. It still has a massive amount of stacks to clear out as well with Widow's Drums up. So he's going to be able to get some good farm for himself. And it's down to whether or not this investment on Smiling Knight does pay off. He does have SNY plus Radiance, nothing like the Blink that we tend to see into BKB. They are setting up for Roshan here, which they can get done with Stormstormer. And they will get to it. They've got the Blink up on Eki from all of this time as well. So there is a Blink Lasso opportunity to try to just find some opportunistic kills. And hey, guess what? Stormstormer does have a Glimmer Cape up, so And we have one of them up already in these cores at the least. A little bit of a save for Stormstormer from some magical damage.
Roshan will be going down. AVULUS should get away with this one freely, but Rue will actually scout them out with the rocket flare. It's just a bit too late for him to get within range to hope to contest. It's a nice little pickup here for Stormstormer. Question is, you know, what can you really get done with this Aegis pickup now? It still feels like Team Spirit are farming a little bit too effectively across the map, and of course you do have the Ags up going into the blink here for your Toro. They're still well and truly on his way to be able to carry this game as a Beastmaster. Smiling Knight's gonna move into the river, ruin Lal around the area, but instead they're gonna avoid him. Collapse meanwhile, jumping the Pangolier, will find Zippe. Just kind of stupid how fast he can take down the opposing offlane.
And it is. You don't have anything for durability on Zippe. He did go full offense with the Orchid pickup. Doesn't manage to really cast that in time. Tier 1 for Tier 1 trade. Instant smoke out from AVULUS. Will want to try to leverage this Aegis. See if they find an angle out. And if they can get some big usage out from the secondary life of Stormstormer, they could find some opportunities here. But the TP's a bit too quick.
Yeah, he does. Jump in, and then they're going to find Rube, but Rube, he'll happily die here. He won't mind. He's just a clockwork. I mean, it's still something. They're still going to find a T1 tower as well here with Smiling Knight. The rest of the squad just end up kind of leaving the area. The issue is, again, like you see Collapse and Yatoro, they're just farming opposite sides of the map. They're just finding pickoffs where they can and just going back to the farm game, whereas with AVULUS, you're having to commit 4 or 5 heroes every time you find a support kill. It's not going to really end up being a kind of a good result, I feel like, if this keeps up.
No, it just feels like they've not been able to capitalize on Zippe's Orchid. Team Spirit have just done a great job of dodging out all of these engagements and really get some farm going on everyone. I think Matoshka has some room to build up into this full Solar Crest that we tend to see, already working his way into that one. Rue just rushing into a Glimmer Cape, surprise, surprise, just to have some saves for the rest of the team as well. And even Laurel's not lagging behind. Like, everyone's kind of farmed up equally on the side of Team Spirit.
Lasso has caught out Lal. It's a big pick if they can get the Viper. Eki setting up a very nice one. Lal will finally go down. Meanwhile, Rue needing to find his own way out, but will drop. 2 kills coming out here. Zippe gonna cop a Chain Frost from Maposhka, but he's still perfectly fine, but maybe not, because Yatoro has moved in with Aurora and does secure the kill. Here comes Smiling Knight and Stormstormer to try and salvage. They've already lost the Aegis here on Stormstormer. Collapse meanwhile has the Echo ready whenever. Smiling Knight, he's still trying to go after Yatoro. It looks like they'll have the Beastmaster. They never bothered to jump back in with that Echo Slam. They just did not see the opening. And so it's a good fight once again for AVULUS. They're still finding some nice engagements.
That they are. This time around, it did feel like Rue maybe with those cogs just gave some easy angles out to kill off Laurel a little bit quicker than you'd want there. A little bit of a blessing coming out just a bit to help find that fast kill. And they managed to widen that lead to 7k again. This is the point where the side of AVULUS is stronger. Should be leveraging that strength, and they're constantly on the lookout. But you have to appreciate the vision from Team Spirit. They've got this nice defensive ward down here on the cliff, forcing Smiling Knight back. They've got wards watching this bot area of the jungle near the Lotus Pool as well. So you can kind of try to line up if anyone's shoving out a little bit too hard. They do manage to hit that S and Y timing out on Stormstormer, so it might be a little bit more difficult to catch him out. That stat res can give him maybe a window of opportunity to play, but you have some initial BKBs coming in. Collapse already has his own. A bit of a smoke out from AVULUS. They do have the lasso ready to go once more. And if they catch out Yatoro one more time, that can just open up more opportunities. Again, this is a pos 1 Beastmaster. He does back off. Game sense does tinkle just a tad bit there.
Having a look around here, AVULUS, they want some more. Looking for that Tormentor. Thing is, Team Spirit are around the area. They might actually be able to make it there in time to take an advantageous fight. They will move in. Tormentor already taken, though. Still, Team Spirit want to try and go. Viper Strike was committed onto Zippe, but he got the Rolling Thunder off in time. And he's perfectly fine. just roll his way out. The chase continues though. Smiling Knight trying to TP. Oh, they go for the Pengo instead. But no, the gaze. The gaze will barely land from a Poshka. Smiling Knight, he got spotted out by the creep wave. He will BKB up and try to find something for his trouble, but he was like 0.1 second away from getting that TP off. They made it just in the nick of time. That is such a shame.
I appreciate that AVULUS are trying to play aggressive again. They go for that smoke play. And they don't really catch anyone out. The game sense of Team Spirit just on point to spot out or know that something's up. And just again, waste some time. Every single moment they waste, Team Spirit are able to catch up. They're getting space out for their other cores. Laurel, Mantis style not too far off, 2 parts away, has the full Yasha up. You've gotten some good value from that BKB on Collapse, as well as he hasn't used it yet. He's just been able to rush in. Same with Yatoro right now. 7k lead for AVULUS is still significant, but Sibe is starting to lag severely behind. Storm is still keeping up with the rest of the heroes here. Smiling Knight is still ahead. But you have to wonder how long can this Alc maintain that lead as the map starts to shrink, as Team Spirit starts to force the issue forward, as you are eventually going to hit just even bigger strides. Again, once this S and Y is up with a blink for Yatoro, I mean, the right-click face output of the Beastmaster can't be underestimated.
Knight, jump in again. He'll get the Chemical Rage off, but can he survive the onslaught from Yatoro and Collapse? He cannot. In they go. They're going to try and fight without the Alchemist, but I don't really advise it. Spirit looks like they might just jump back in very soon. Stormer in the middle of nowhere right now, cannot sustain himself against Lal. Meanwhile, Collapse chasing down Sibe, and it looks like eventually they might just have him. They'll wait out the blink here for Collapse. In fact, never mind the blink, they'll just land a Fisher. Into the tier 3 towers they'll go. They won't time that TP yet, but they will take a big golem with them.
And they just get to start cleaning up. That 7k lead down to just 3k for AVULUS, and at 22 minutes in with an Alchemist, that is not good news for the side of AVULUS whatsoever. Team Spirit, again, just playing to their strengths really well. The coordination we're seeing out for these initiations coming in, everyone's on the same page on the side of Team Spirit. They're hammering their spells in the right order. There's just no durability that we're seeing from Smiling Knight, and that's him with a BKB and a Sanji Yasha. Like, this Alchemist shouldn't be that easy to kill off. But Collapse is just managing to make it really hurt with all of these enchants coming through, and he's in good position to force again another fight.
He's got an Echo ready as well. Roar out immediately from Yatoro right onto the Alc, and Smiling Knight pops the BKB, tries to run. He will barely make it for now, but Poshka, he'll get caught by his stun. They might at least have themselves a Lich here. In fact, Yatoro is not out of danger yet either. Lasso will land, and he will be dragged back into the loving arms of Smiling Knight, so he will die. The BKB coming out just in the nick of time to ensure this Alchemist does survive through that drums of Slom damage. And that's a big one. I mean, they found the POS 1 Beastmaster, they'll find the POS 5 Lich. And AVULUS, they're still fighting back.
A little bit awkward for Spirit this time around. Collapse was trying to chase down Soneko. Couldn't find that full kill with a force staff save out, and he's just forced to walk away. It looked like he had the angle to try to go for a bigger target, try to go for that slam, but tries to play conservative, and that does cost him on Spirit, breaking up that fight into 2 flanks. Although,
oh boy, I mean, I was just trying to pray Smiling Knight, but
all right.
Collapse catches him. Lol, it's more than enough. That's the thing. Like, even if you don't have this POS 1 Beastmaster, it doesn't really matter. You've got so much damage between Lol and Collapse. As long as they catch you without a BKB, you're kind of just screwed.
That you are. Again, Collapse didn't see the opportunity for the slam. A while ago, he could have made that exact same move on Smiling Knight earlier, but hey, he's isolated this time. They do kill off Rue, and they didn't have to expend Lasso, but it's just small wins for AVULUS. Again, bigger wins a while ago when they killed off Yatoro, but the wider state of the game just does not feel comfy for this team whatsoever. Like, your Husker doesn't really feel like it's having the biggest impact. BKB might mitigate some of those issues, although...
Roar out, Fisher to set up, Stormer trying his best to survive through it, but it's not enough.
Oh, Lord.
Alright, rolling. Oh, Zibe? Are we really going for a fight here by ourselves, Zibe? No, we're not. Rolls in, rolls back out.
Just tries to dissuade him, tried to look for an angle to save, doesn't quite find it. Man, that was not the circumstance you'd want to find yourself for Avulus. You're just having the shard already up on Miposhka with that Chain Frost, even with the Glimmer Cape, even with your passives here in the Husker, it's still painful. Still don't want to be entrapped there. 22 to 17, lead basically gone for Avulus as the 3K is really just all Smiling Light, and Stormstormer and Xavier are starting to slip off from relevancy at the moment. I do like the itemization being queued up though. Sib is trying to go for just the Lincolns, just something to protect from the roar. I'm trying to go for Assault Curious now on Smiling Knight. Still waiting for that BKB completion on Stormer. But I just feel like Team Spirit are kind of set. And this is them with no natural pause one, right? Like, this is a very interesting time with a Beastmaster who theoretically is a pretty decent one with that beast mode. Like, his right click damage is not to be fully disrespected, along with the drums just banging away. Smoke out from Avulus, looking for a rear flank. Might be able to find it.
Miposhka. Last one never came out. The gaze came out first. Miposhka finding an early kill. Smiling Knight at least able to get some revenge here by killing off Miposhka. They've also found a Collapse in the back, though Collapse making it pretty hard to find him a secondary time, as now the turnaround is here. They'll land a Fissure. Smiling Knight there on the right end of that Fissure will be able to escape. It ends up being a 1-for-1. Lal still chasing. Oh, and a nice hook shot. Rue right on target, finding Stormstormer. The Glimmer Cape will save him for now, but for how long? Not very long is the answer. Radahn / Yatoro will secure another. I think it's off to Roshan now. No need to force P2s.
Nothing to stop you, really. And Roche Clear is very damn quick with what you have on hand. With this damage coming in from Radahn, it's not going to take too long whatsoever, of course. With Laurel and Collapse around as well. In fact, they're not even looking to help, just Collapse will. Smoke out from the side of Avulus. They know Roche is going to be happening. They need to find angle in. They still have Lasso if they make it there in time. But Roche is going really quick here.
Certainly is. Looks like Smiling Knight wants to try and move in onto Lal, but Lal still has plenty of teammates around him. So they will just kind of go against that and wait another day. You have now had the net worth swing back the way of Team Spirit, by the way. Less than 1k their way is Rue going to get caught by a lasso, but there's no way to drag him out of the cogs right now. So this Bat Rider basically sacrificed himself, and Rue will not even die. Rue's fine as Collapse finds another support in the form of Seneko. Poor old Seneko can do nothing to get out of that scenario. So both supports now just getting dropped here by Team Spirit. Thankfully, all the calls got out, but it was them trying to be assertive here in that situation, John.
That was. Didn't manage to make it in time for that Roche fight, and that's what cost them. I'm surprised they still played in a very aggressive position. I mean, after a Smiling Light missed out in his channel, I figured, you know, you just go back, farm, try to play high ground defense, maybe just surrender one of the tier 2s, and build up from that point. But you're playing an Alchemist draft with no net worth advantage to speak of. You're in dire straits, for sure, on Avulus. 29 minutes in, you're really starting to get a grip again here on the side of Team Spirit as Avulus. They've had a couple of good moments. They've had a couple of great starts where they're isolating some of these cores one by one, where Team Spirit don't find that wider team fight they're looking for. But those moments have been few and far between here for Avulus. And again, like, you're getting some items flowing in. BKB for Stormstormer is nice, but Roar is still going to be an issue. At the very least, magic damage might not be an issue any longer. You know, with 60% magic res coming in on the active, could be the way to go, but the physical output of Collapse and Yator is still damn high. Tier 2 will fall. Mid already fell. And again, you're just in cruise control right now for the side of Team Spirit. For the side of Avulus, I mean, there's this really nice spike for Stormstorm if he gets into the Ags. The issue is he's still really just starting to build it up. Again, just looking at the BKB at the moment. Finish it up here with a recipe just set to fly out. You have the full AC all set for Smiling Knight. That can be something. But again, it just doesn't feel like any of this is close enough for you to feel comfy. At the least, they are cutting creep waves nicely. Eki's just clearing down bot. Mid is still being shoved in though, but you're preventing any direct play onto the two trees at the moment. And you're stalling for time as best as you can.
I'm still... They're not out of yet, AVULUS. Game 2. Definitely a better performance in game 1 as Eki does get taken down in the mid lane. I mean, he's trying his best. He's got a creep skill. They're doing what they have to do to keep the game alive. It's a toughie. It's a toughie. I mean, they're, you know, not much they can do right now. I think Smiling Knight's starting to drop off quite hard on this Alchemist, and of course, the other cores aren't really having the impact you would have hoped.
No, certainly not. Again, it does feel like you missed that key time for Stormstormers. They just start on mid.
So they go. Oh, he's obviously just going to die.
You shouldn't just let them take a 2-3 for free. Fortify will be there to solve it. Smiling Light and Stormstormer aren't actually making their way back in. So it does look like they're just give it away. There's still a minute on this Aegis. They know they have no business in looking for 2 lives to kill off on Radahn. And they'll just take a freebie on the side of Team Spirit. They could clear out bot as well. It's at that point you should really see AVULUS not allow that to go. But none of their cores are showing up outside of just Smiling Knight stuck in base. So freebie it is. I mean, again, it's hard to see the angles coming in here for the side of AVULUS. You really want this full Ags and Stormer to at least have some control coming in with that life break on hand. See that?
Hook is in. Perfect again from Rue. Quite frankly, it just doesn't even feel like they needed it. Like, Yatoro could have just jumped in with the blink and roar, but I mean, why not? Meanwhile, Stormer. He's down south, but it seems like Collapse knows he's around. Oh, the fish. Very close, Collapse. Very, very close. Meanwhile, Lol dice to the tournament. No, but Poshka dice to the tournament. Sorry about that. Lol gets the tournament. Lol gets the shards out of that.
You know you're having a fun game when you don't care if your support lives or dies in that one. You know you're having a little bit too much fun. And the worst thing is, giving it onto Laurel is also pretty big. Now your high ground speed just that much quicker. At the very least, you have access to your own Tormentor here for AVULUS. Free short off for Stormstormers. Kind of nice, I guess. Yeah, the inner fire upgrades are nice and dandy. So there is that, along with this Ags that's still 2 parts away. So you have been able to, again, get some decent space for the Husker to try to build into that point. You've got the Bloodthorn being worked on by Smiling Knight, and he does have the Nullifier up, so there's some damage here. There's some control with the Orchid that you can play with that Nullifier. But you're 6k behind with an Alchemist. Side of Team Spirit really just... It hasn't felt like they've been challenged in a while, outside of, again, maybe some fights where they don't find a clear angle. Still on the hunt with his Ags up. Soneko could be in the firing line.
There we go. Hawk, of course, on target by Rue. Poor old Soneko just has not been able to catch a break this series. They're still doing a good job of keeping these waves forced out. That's the bright side, is high ground. Apart from that mid-racks going down, high ground has not really been conquered yet by Team Spirit. Not yet.
I suppose. I mean, being 1 racks up is already a very big deal, I suppose, at this point. But no additional threats, at least, like tier 2 protecting top is pretty nice here for AVULUS, ensuring they still have this top deep jungle to kind of play with. They even get to the point where you've got a BKB on Eki, so gibbing down this, or at least controlling up the Batrider is not going to be as big of a deal. He can preempt BKB, Blink Lasso, an easier path to look for that kidnap play to keep your hopes alive for AVULUS, but we'll have to see if the angles present themselves here. Team Spirit, they've also been pretty patient. You know, they've been willing to play the longer game because heck, why not? Laurel can just go into 25, become universal. He's already getting the stat padding for it with the Lincoln sub. Going for the Scotty next for some healing mitigation on Smiling Knight and on Stormstormer, of course. You've got the full Bloodthorn up on Yatoro with a Sanjin Yasha going for the refresh now, so double Roar, double BKB is going to be in place soon. And Collapse is also just going for a nice quick refresh just to get the double slams off and the double BKBs. Still AVULUS trying to go for the smoke out. If they get this timing right, if they get lucky with a fast Roshan as well, that could open up the game just a little bit more here.
Eki trying to find a nice lasso opportunity. Team Spirit very well grouped up here, just in a nice position. Making very hard to jump in, but Eki, he has found himself a Beastmaster. Hook shot in from Rue, but Yatoro dropping very low. Radan still trying to survive, but does go down. Maposhka jumping in at the end as well with a Chain Frost, but it will not really mean much. They've already lost 2. Here's Yereko from Collapse, refreshing as well, looking for a secondary. Does commit, and it's a big one as well. Collapse wiping them out just a little bit here as they are going to buy back on Rue. Try to come back in for this fight. Snipe trying to fight back, taking down Collapse. Will lose his own life. There goes Stormstormer as well. A triple kill for Lal. The only survivor, Sinead. No, in fact, never mind. No survivor. Ultra kill for Lal. My goodness, I mean, even if they deal with Yatoro, it just doesn't matter.
No, really doesn't. There are a lot of great patience there from Collapse to look for that great refresh reveal, dropping them all low as the BKB starts to fade away, and just being very patient in that engagement. You're also just seeing Viper gameplay from Laurel, and again, with his free shard, he can just force out the Fortify by himself, and still dig into that tier 3, no problem. About to approach that level 25 mark with all of these stats. So he's gonna have the universal. And you can't stop this. AVULUS, they tried. They're gonna lose another set of racks. They're gonna lose their tier 2 top as well from Rue just shoving in. And that should be the set of mega creeps coming out as Eki's getting some off chat out, just pinging the damage onto him. Suspicious.
You gotta have a laugh, you know? If you have, you gotta laugh. It's tough.
That's all you can do. Just a possible mental attitude, as they say, Mikey. There's the Ags at last. For Stormstormer, so he can taunt a little bit, force them to focus on him when he does come in. That might bide him enough time to try to kill someone off. It's just, I don't know how you take these wider team fights. Like, again, that almost felt like the best case scenario. You get a good Fatal Bonds onto 2 spreading out. You got the Chaotic Offering. They're entrapped there for the roll from Sibe, but it's still just not enough. Like, this Alchemist doesn't feel like it's doing enough damage. Stormstormer definitely doesn't feel like he's at that point anymore with a Husker. Almost also feeling like he might need some level spikes. Maybe 25 talent with a Burning Spear duration feels better, or the Life Break damage with how spammable that spell is with the Yags up. But no easy answers for AVULUS. 11k lead for Team Spirit. Might be able to find one fight outside and just translate into an endgame here.
AVULUS cannot allow this to go for free. They've got to try and contest to keep their life available here in this this series against Team Spirit. The Team Spirit's still very patient. Neither side moving into the pit yet. Of course, they always have the rocket flare vision from Rue as well, so it's going to be pretty hard for AVULUS to move in unnoticed. Even the balls from Yatoro just keeping tabs on the Roshan pit at all times. Meanwhile, Lal's into the tier 4 towers, by the way. He just gets to work on the Viper, forces the quick TP rotations, and now Roshan is free. Eki desperately trying to chase this Viper to punish, but it's not going to happen. It's so depressing seeing that kind of play. There's just nothing you can do about it. You either lose the game or lose Roshan.
Yeah, and losing Roshan probably also loses you the game, so it's a lose-lose situation there for AVULUS. Here's what it is. Oh, look at that. Laurel hits 25, become universal. He says 360 damage per right click. Beautiful work. Ice Frog's finest creation. Glad to see that still around. As they're stuck with one tier 4 left. They get the free Ags blessing as well for Collapse, so he's going to be even more annoying to contend with. Not that he's been less annoying in recent time anyhow. And for AVULUS, I'm trying to think what brings you back into this game. Just lasso back into the life break? and just tried to kite one big hero back, I guess. But we saw them do that to Yatoro. It's not enough. At this point, you probably have to kill off Laurel quickly. It's just that he has 4k HP with a Linken's to protect. Not really an easy target to burst down either. So there's no clear angle for Eki to kind of take for you to feel comfy. So many refreshers on hand now. Yatoro has his. We've seen Collapses up for a while, of course. And I don't know. Like, maybe you get a great 5-hero Fatal Bonds up, and you just get a lot of spell spam going in, a lot of damage going out, and you hope everyone dies. Smiling Knight?
Jump is there. Smiling Knight just trying to get out of the cogs right now, but he's having to do some real heavy lifting as he's forced to pop the BKB just to get away from this ugly, ugly scenario. And Team Spirit now, seeing the BKB committed on this Alchemist, understand that there's not really much in the way of stopping them. There's going to be a lasso from Eki to try and at least deal with Lal before they really even start this big team fight. But Lal's actually pretty tanky. He'll finally go down though. Rue's been left behind as well, so Team Spirit, it seems like they'll have to come back another day. A very nice lasso here from Eki, making it so they're not out of the game yet. For AVULUS.
Yeah,
unfortunate for Team Spirit.
They do find a right target, right? We were talking about the ways back in. It's probably just isolating Laurel, and because of that chase down on mid, no one else from Team Spirit's around to try to help that Viper in the siege. Nothing defensive here as well for Laurel outside of the Manta. No BKB just yet, although... Okay.
And again? Okay. I mean, I guess the AVULUS thought it was kind of safe, but turns out it wasn't. Sibe, he's locked on the high ground. He'll get a swashbuckle down to the low ground. He'll be all right. But you're lacking an Alchemist now. I mean, thankfully he has buyback, but he may be forced to commit it. We'll see if Team Spirit want to try.
Looking like they're calm enough to just be satisfied with keeping this farm build up and waiting for the respawn on Laurel. They still have some time in the Aegis anyhow. They're going to have a minute and a half after the Viper respawns. So still a window there for Yatoro to just run forward and aid out in the clearing of that last objective. They've also got the banner in the backpack here, still set to go. Pings are out, maybe looking for some punishment. They are TPing to the outpost. Stormer has the target painted on his back. Yatoro does have the double roar. So if he manages to sneak his way through, it would be nice, but the creeps are still there, so not really able to find a target. But they're still set to collapse across the map, like Naposhka.
Oh, again. Maposhka's in the middle of nowhere here, John, but he's still kind of proving to be a bit hard to kill. Gets a Chain Frost off before he does go down, so there's that. Yatoro's actually going to just jump in with a roar out onto the Warlock, so Seneko can't really get away. He's trying that with the Glimmer Cape, but he's going to lose Stormstormer instead. Buybacks are immediate. They want to continue this fight. Smiling Knight out, jumping Yatoro will take down the Aegis of the Beastmaster. More buybacks from Maposhka now rejoining the fight. Rue's in with the hook shot. Zippei's been caught out by it. Zippei, it looks like he will die, but the Glimmer Cape will buy him a little bit more time, but not for long. He's gone. Buyback out from Zippei. Rue, meanwhile, looking for another cogs, but has it on cooldown. Smiling Knight trying to get a stun, but gets a man to illusion with it. Maposhka jumping in now with the gaze out again on Smiling Knight. Poor old Alchemist just cannot run away. Another Glimmer Cape usage. Meanwhile, Yatoro finding the dieback on Stormstormer. Smiling Knight still just trying to get the hell away from Lal, but is going to end up stunning himself and his own teammate.
Oh, Lord.
Yusuneko. Upheaval. He's trying everything, but he just can't get away.
Oh, my God.
GG. Oh. And now Yatoro buys back. Or rather, Seneko.